In the heart of the verdant hills of Umuoke, a small Igbo village nestled between lush forests and flowing rivers, there lived a young woman named Amina. She was from the Fulani tribe, a people known for their nomadic lifestyle, their cattle herding, and their melodic songs that echoed across the savannah. Amina's beauty was said to be the reflection of the moon on a still night, and her heart was as gentle as the evening breeze. Amina's life took a drastic turn when she met Obinna, an Igbo man from Umuoke, during one of his travels. Obinna, tall and strong, with the wisdom of the elders and the vigor of youth, was captivated by Amina's grace. Against the wishes of both families, who feared the union of different tribes, they married. Amina moved to Umuoke, leaving behind her people, her language, and her tradition to start a new life with her beloved. In Umuoke, Amina found herself surrounded by customs and beliefs unfamiliar to her. The women spoke in riddles, the men were guarded, and the elders clung to the old ways with a fervor that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. But Amina loved Obinna, and she embraced her new life with an open heart, learning the ways of the Igbo and honoring their traditions. However, tragedy struck one fateful night. Obinna, who had always been strong and healthy, suddenly fell ill. Despite the efforts of the village healer, he died, leaving Amina a widow in a land where she was still considered an outsider. As the custom in Umuoke, a widow was to be purified through a series of rituals that would cleanse her of any spiritual ties to the deceased. But what Amina did not know was that Obinna's family harbored a dark and ancient secret, a secret that had claimed the lives of many women before her. The night after Obinna was buried, the elders of the village gathered. They were the keepers of the old ways, guardians of the customs that had been passed down through generations. They decreed that Amina would undergo the final purification ritual, one that was spoken of only in hushed tones and feared by all who knew of it. Amina was taken to her late husband's room, a place that now smelled of death and decay. The air was thick with the scent of the herbs that had been burned to ward off evil spirits. The walls were adorned with marks and carvings of ancestral spirits, their eyes watching her every move. A mat was spread on the floor, and in the center of the room lay Obinna's lifeless body, wrapped in white clothes. "You must stay here for 2 days and 2 nights," the chief elder said, his voice as cold as the night wind. "During this time, you will drink the water used to bath your husband's body. Only there will you be purified." Amina's heart pounded in her chest. She had heard of such rituals in passing, but she had never imagined she would be subjected to one. The thought of spending 2 nights with her husband's corpse, drinking the water that had washed his dead body, filled her with dread. But she knew that to refuse would be to dishonor Obinna's memory and to bring shame upon herself. The door was shut, and Amina was left alone with the dead. The first night was the hardest. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional creak of the wooden floor and the distance howl of a wild animal. Amina tried to pray, but her walls flattened. She could not bring herself to drink the water, and as the hours passed, fear began to take hold of her. As dawn broke, Amina's mind started to play tricks on her. She saw shadows moving on the walls, heard whispers in the air, and felt the presence of something malevolent in the room. She knew that the Igbo believed in the power of spirit world, that the dead could still influence the living, but this was something more, something darker. By the second night, Amina was delirious with fear and exhaustion. The air in the room had grown thick and suffocating. She had not eaten or slept, and her thoughts were jumbled. As she lay on the mat, staring at Obinna's cup, she began to hear a voice. It was a deep, rumbling voice, speaking in a language she did not understand. The voice seemed to come from within the walls, from the very earth beneath her. The curse must be broken. Amina sat up, her heart racing. Who are you? What curse? But the voice only repeated the same words. The curse must be broken. Desperation and fear gave Amina the strength to confront the voice. She stood, trembling, and approached her husband's body. As she touched the clothes that wrapped him, a vision flooded her mind. She saw Obinna, not as the man she had loved, but as the child, scared and crying. He was surrounded by shadowy figures, whispering in his ear, telling him of a pact made by his ancestors long ago, a pact that required a terrible sacrifice. Amina's heart broke as she realized the truth. Obinna's family was cursed, bound by an ancient ritual that demanded the life of every firstborn son's wife. The water used to bath the dead was not meant to purify the widow, but to bind her soul to the spirit world, to feed the dark forces that held the family in their grip. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place. Obinna had married Amina not out of love alone, but because he believed she was strong enough to break the curse. He had known of his fate, known that he would die young, but he had hoped that in death, Amina would find the truth and end the cycle of suffering. With a resolve she didn't know she was possessed, Amina took the water and drank it, but not in submission. She drank it as a symbol of her defiance, her refusal to be another victim of this dark tradition. The room began to spin, the air crackling with energy. The spirit, enraged by her defiance, surged around her, but Amina stood firm. I will not be a prisoner of your cause, she cried out, her voice echoing through the room. In that moment, the shadows that had haunted her vanished, the oppressive air lifted, and the room was filled with a bright, warm light. Amina collapsed, exhausted but victorious. The curse had been broken. When the elders returned the next morning, they found Amina unconscious but alive. The look of shock on their faces told her everything. No woman had ever survived this ritual. The village buzzed with the news, and the elders, realizing the power Amina now held, dared not to speak of the curse again. It declared her a woman of great spiritual strength, and from that day on, the dark ritual was never performed again. Amina returned to her people, bringing with her the strength and wisdom she had gained. She became a legend, a symbol of resilience and courage. Her story told in both Fulani and Igbo villages as a warning and a testament to the power of the human spirit. And so, the tale of Amina the widow who defied the spirit and broke the ancient curse, became a part of the rich tapestry of African folklore, a story of love, loss, and the triumph of light over darkness.